welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm dear darling, as you can see what's going on our lovely island of Fawnhollow today, where we'll be vibing out per usual, and you might be like, this can't be happening, how good dear darling, how could she possibly have another conversation topic to talk about on this holiday arc? Well, you know what, get ready for a whole month of things tangentially related to the fact I went on holiday. That's not true. I don't think I can keep going for 30 days, but maybe a week. Has it been a week? No, it hasn't been a week. It's been like 4 days. I'm almost nearly out of things, but I do actually want to talk about, well, you know, probably the episode title is going to be like restaurant reviews or something. So, hello everyone. Right now in Fawnhollow at 6:15 p.m. on Wednesday, September 28th, 2022. It's a thing we're travelling. Like, as I said before, I don't have a huge amount of wanderlust or anything, but, you know, if going on holiday, it's nice. I like to see different areas, you know, experience different cultures and really get immersed, I suppose, in different countries and see the differences and similarities that from things I'm used to things I'm not. Therein is a kind of fun part of travelling, I think, and being able to experience, basically being able to experience different things. But one of the things is... which, you know, I've said on and on about, which I don't have a strong opinions about, is generally, like, food, like, how things taste. Like, I'm pretty okay with, you know, very plain tasting food or bad tasting food or whatever, because of a range of foods which I find, like, satiable, I suppose, is quite wide, and I'm not particularly picky when it comes to food, and I'm not, like, I don't put a high priority on food or that sort of thing. But the thing is, there's a little asterisk which, comes next to that when it's on holiday, because, you know, when I go on holiday, I'm not exactly like going to, you know, McDonald's every day and just like eating the same thing, or going to a supermarket and picking out like the equivalent of a meal deal every day. I'm still going out trying food in restaurants, and that's because that little asterisk next to it is I like trying different experiences. And the thing is, trying new food in a different country. Oh my word, what on earth is up with our inventory? Trying new food in a different country is like kind of part of the experience, right? You know, it's a whole new experience, it's a whole new world. It's not really a whole new world, well, I mean, it kind of is, but it's a different experience, which is why, you know, I actually do kind of not prioritize it, but I still, you know, give it a little bit of thought on that sort of thing. I still try to go to like different restaurants, try like specific food and that sort of thing, but it's probably my least favourite, one of my least favourite parts of travel. If I was booking a holiday, that sort of thing, you know, you'd be like, might be like, what's your favourite part? Well, obviously, the favourite part is actually doing the travelling thing, like experiencing the new thing, doing whatever. That's definitely the most fun part. You know, I think you'll be kind of remiss if it wasn't the most fun part for you. In which case, you should probably be doing a different activity, which is less prohibitively, not prohibitively, don't want depending, but less expensive. Okay. Oh, we have a full inventory, so he can't actually give us an acorn. That's an interesting sort of result. But one of the most annoying things, certainly, I think, in planning for a holiday is not the itinerary. I actually love doing the itinerary stuff, like doing these experiences, like this is where we should go, this is how you plan it out, this is how we can efficiently use our time. It's absolutely finding places to eat. For whatever reason, I just strongly dislike doing it. And I think it's a combination of the fact that I'm not super infused by food, and it's really hard to figure out which restaurants are the best restaurants and that sort of thing. You know, you have to read tons of reviews, and then some reviews are like 5 stars. This place makes amazing food. I mean, it's like so unique and so like local and so exactly how, you know, you'd expect to find it in this country or something. I mean, you go on the next review, it's like, this place is terrible, this service staff was rude, the food was stale, I don't know, it's nothing like it, it's oversalted, etc, etc, etc. And you're just like, oh, which one of you two are right? And probably the realistic answer is probably neither of them, or actually probably the realistic answer is they're both exaggerated versions of their own correct experiences. As in, that person probably went to a restaurant and probably had a pretty bad time, and, you know, just the food wasn't to their taste, and that person probably just had an amazing time because it was, I don't know, maybe that first person accidentally misconstrued what like one of the waiters or waitresses said, or maybe like they were served by a waiter or waitress who got fired or something like that. I don't know, like all these sort of stories happen, but, you know, it's really annoying trying to figure out exactly like which of these reviews are legitimate and which of these places are the best ones to eat. You know, I am thankful certainly for places like Google Reviews, TripAdvisor, although TripAdvisor, it's another thing, you know, stacked on top of all of this. It's not only are you trying to find a good place to eat, you're trying to find one which is within your price range, but you're also, at least from my perspective, I'm trying to find one which is like reasonably like, what's the word? Reasonably faithful to like local cuisine and that sort of thing. And I'm not going there and I'm eating like a, well, depending on what country I'm going to, but like for example, if I go to Japan or something, go to a restaurant, I'm not eating at a Japanese restaurant which is like got food, particularly for Western taste buds. I want to try things as they are, like in Japan. Insert whatever country of your choice there. It's, I feel like that's a pretty normal thing to want, but, at the same time, well, I guess Japan's a bad choice because I can actually kind of speak Japanese, but, like, imagine I went to, well, I mean, I went to Italy, so Italy, well, okay, no, European countries are also a bad choice because a lot of people can speak English in European countries. What's the countries where European, like, if I went to a rural area of France? Is that a thing? Or maybe like Paris, because isn't it like a thing in Paris where, like, Parisians kind of refuse to speak English or whatever. Anyway, and so whatever place where you don't know the language and, maybe English isn't all that common a language being spoken, maybe you went to a rural area, that sort of thing, Obviously, the most local restaurants or most local food places you go to may probably only speak exclusively in that language, right? So, then communication gets pretty hard. Like, I remember I went to Japan and, like, one of the places we went to was an okonomiyaki bar. I can't remember what it was, like in Osaka or something. And then it was very shocking because that's the first time I went to Japan, and that's when I had I'd done like 2 classes, not like 2 lessons, but 2 semesters, quite of Japanese classes, and then they gave me the menu and it was all in Japanese, and I went, oh my god, I can't read this. But I could read some of it. I was like, I know this is squid and this is eel, and I don't know what this is, and I can read what this says, but I don't know what it means, and it's just like, it's very difficult. But so I remember when the person came to take our order, and I asked basically, what do you recommend? And they were like, oh, are you English? And I was like, yeah. Or they're like, do you not speak Japanese? And I was like, yeah, in English. I was like, oh, okay. And then they explained it in like English. Like, obviously it wasn't like straight fluent English, but it was far better than my Japanese at the time, so I'm very thankful for them for that. Obviously, as a business, you sort of get used to it, especially if you're in an area which is particularly touristy. You're probably quite used to getting tourists, and, well, I don't know, because I was going to be like, I don't know if restaurants particularly like tourists or not like tourists, because on one hand, I'm sure tourists, don't necessarily respect the cultures and customs necessarily of your country. Maybe they're kind of rude, maybe they feel quite entitled, that sort of thing. A lot of the time, I'd imagine they, drink quite a lot and might be quite belligerent. But also, on the other hand, tourists make a lot of money. Like, the tourism industry is an industry for a reason, because you can get a lot. Tourists, it's a thing. Like, you ever think about it yourself? When you go on holiday, you are far more willing to spend high amounts of money than you are on your day-to-day life, because you're taking, it's like a week holiday. Who cares if you're spending, double what you usually do on a meal or something? You're only doing it for, a week. It's fine. You're there to treat yourself, that sort of thing, So tourism, lots of money, unsurprisingly. I don't know why I don't explain to you, as if you can, figure it out yourself. But I don't know. I'm sort of just padding out my story, I suppose, at this point. So yeah, I don't know. Anyone work in the food service industry? Do you like tourists? Do you not like tourists? I suppose, because food industry, thin margins, as I say. So I'd imagine if you are on the lower scale to a mid-scale sized food place, you'd probably quite like tourists because, a customer's a customer at the end of the day. But if you're a high-scale thing, if you're a high-scale restaurant, you probably maybe tourists aren't worth it because you already have a huge amount of a customer base anyway, so there's no point. But if you're a very high scale, with fast food places, then I don't think you really care at that point. I mean, most fast food places are kind of done by machines now, which is honestly, I think it makes sense. Fast food is definitely the sort of thing where it's sort of the baseline minimum food you should get in another country. Not saying you should get it, but say you land at 11 p.m, you can always count. Or past midnight, you can always count on there being around in 24/7 hours. McDonald's, you don't know the language, it's okay, you use a touchscreen to order anyway, you can just do it by the pictures. You don't really need to even speak the language in first place, you pay, you're done. That's kind of the baseline thing with food. But, I'm not going to say that if you go to a holiday in a different country and you only have fast food, you're wasting your time. That's not true. Everyone's got different experience and what they want from a holiday and that sort of thing. And maybe you just like fast food. Maybe you are someone who just really can't stand a lot of other foods and the safety of having food because your priority goes into the experiences you have. Fair enough, Why would I judge your holiday experience? Because, I'm sure I've got my own sort of weird quirks and things which people will be like, why are you doing that? But I will say that if you are someone who is not opposed to eating things which are not just fast food, you certainly are missing out on things if you don't sort of branch out a little bit more. But you can't just rely on fast food. Well, I should say, majority of people can't just rely on fast food, I suppose, when going out. to another place. For one, that's incredibly unhealthy. Like, I went on holiday with some of my friends, and it was like for the first 2 days we basically just had fast food, and on the third day I was like, please can we go somewhere which actually like serves vegetables? I feel like I'm dying. Which is, you know, a rarity. We really got like Wagamama's or something, but you know, and I got like some very healthy, I can't remember, bowl or something, and I was just like, oh, thank you. It's because we had like McDonald's and pizza and like a burger thing, and then like, no, I think then when I was like, I think I'm dying because I haven't had like a vegetable for like 2 days or something. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, your mileage may vary when it comes to that, and certainly that's probably quite an age dependent thing, or you know, diet dependent thing. But yeah, it's just a pain finding the best restaurants. And you know, if you're like me, you always go in with like sort of air skepticism with actual like review sites in the end, which makes it sort of like doubly annoying. What? I thought it was a bug. I thought that was like the corner of like a lost diary or something. You go in with like an air of skepticism when it comes to like actually like food reviews in the first place. You're like, oh, I don't know what's the best restaurant to go to. If only there was some like sort of congregation site where people could rate like rate certain restaurants, and then like it'd be aggregated, and then you can see which one had like the highest averages, and you can read people's own experiences. And it'd be like Google reviews comes up being like, hey, what about this? And Yelp comes up, I mean, I don't think anyone uses Yelp. TripAdvisor comes up being like, hey, what about this? And insert other site, and I'm like, no, you sites are too mainstream. I'm not going to find the very best food if I go here. Maybe the restaurants like paid you to actually like fill in fake reviews or something like that. I can't trust you. I mean, it's like, well, what do you have left? I don't know. Go into random social media sites, you know, like Reddit. Even Reddit is not a good idea anymore now, because like, I mean, maybe like 5 to 10 years ago on Reddit, you could be like, oh, what's some good local places to eat, and like a local subreddit for that country or that city. And you get like a list of places which are quite nice. But now, obviously, you know, Reddit is actually, you know, an actual advertising platform at the same time. You know, a lot of companies go in there to market things, you know, but they try and do it in a way which is subtle, because, you know, if you just go on Reddit and you'd be like, hey, advert, a lot of people are going to be like, boo, this sucks, I hate this. But if you go on Reddit and be like, hey, I'm just one of you lot, and this is my thing, this is a post which is definitely not, you know, a promotion for my product or something, people will be like, whoa, that product's sick, like, whoa, what is that? This is great, you know, something like that. It's wild, actually, because I imagine, you know, advertising as an industry must be quite quite different than it was a couple of years ago, while people get more sort of savvy. It's basically, people genuinely don't like being advertised to, well, sort of like knowingly being advertised to, I think, or at least maybe perhaps this generation. And then so it's all about sort of trying to subvert, like trying to be subtle about it, so it doesn't seem like advertising. Although I think advertising starts to be like disclosed or something, sort of like guerrilla marketing or whatever it's called. And you know, but then people get savvy to exactly what that is. So then it's like you have to be more subtle, and it's like, I don't even know. It's sort of like layers and layers and layers of meta guessing and all that sort of thing. I feel like, Isabel, that's a very cold outfit to still be wearing, and I don't know, it's getting very cold here in the UK at least. No, she's got a winter. Does she have an autumn outfit? I don't know. Hold on. It's about her different. She does have a different outfits, because she's got that winter cardigan. Isn't that her summer outfit still though? Isabel New Horizons outfits. Does she only have 2? Steam Workshop. What? Oh, she might only have. No, she's got. Yeah. Okay. Hold on. The summer outfit is this green one. Wait, no, there's pink ones or something. What? I'm confused. But yellow cardigan is definitely one of them. Let's see, New Horizons. I love his face, but... Oh yeah, she's got like a brown jumper as well. Okay, so that's the autumn one. She just hasn't changed into an autumn one yet. I think? Maybe? Oh, wait, maybe the yellow cardigan was New Leaf. Am I thinking of New Leaf? I might be thinking of New Leaf. I'm not sure. Maybe she's only got 2 uniforms. I thought she had more. No, I think that's New Leaf, because... Does she wear this green one? I'm really confused. Ah, well, who cares? This is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about restaurant reviews. Anyway, so yeah. And then it's just another thing being like, oh, maybe even if you do trust the Google reviews and the TripAdvisor things, you'd be like, oh, you know, but these are like Western sites in the first place, you know, but it's not written by the locals. The locals aren't reviewing this, right? There's, like, TripAdvisor is specifically like kind of marketed and used by tourists in the first place, so it's kind of like what tourists find best rather than what the locals like, and it's sort of like, it's so difficult and it's so annoying. And it's like, what's the solution to this? I don't know. I just want like a site where only locals can write about the restaurant, and it's a site which doesn't take any sponsorship, and you can't ever write fake reviews. So basically, I just want some sort of like omniscient restaurant deity to come down to me and be like, you should eat here, and I'd be like, thank you, restaurant deity. That's very useful. I mean, I'll go there and I'll be like, this is like mid, because apparently my tastes aren't refined enough to really find out the detail in the first place. But yeah, basically the long and short of it is, actually in reality this doesn't like matter in the slightest, because there's been very few times where I've gone to a restaurant and was like, this is terrible. Most of the times, you know, I go to reviews, I go in TripAdvisor, go that sort of thing, look at a restaurant, I'd be like, okay, let's check out this restaurant. I go to a restaurant and it's like on the range from, yeah, it was alright to, yeah, it was amazing. You know, some places are fantastically amazing and some places are good, but you know, there's like a fault to them. Like, you know, it's good, but it's quite a westernized food, or it's good, but like wait time was super long, or it's good, it's more expensive than I expected, or like I don't know, something like, it was good, but like you know, the food didn't quite appeal to me, etc., etc. Or it's like, it's fine, you know, you eat it and you're like, it's passable, you know, you'd be like, I'm not like particularly upset by it. Would I have gone somewhere else if I'd given the opportunity? Maybe, but at the end of the day, food is food. There's very few times where I've been like, this food is actively bad. The only time I can think of off the top of my head is the first time I went to Italy. Rome, I think. It was like one of the first, it might literally have been the first day we landed. Oh no, you and biscuit for us. Okay, well, we'll give this back to you. I think it was literally the first day we landed in Rome, and we were like trying to find a place to eat lunch, and there was a lot of us on this trip or whatever, and we were just like walking around, and we were walking to an area, and we were like, oh man, it's lunchtime, and I nearly just opened that, and I was like, wait a minute, what am I doing? It was like lunchtime, and I was we were getting quite hungry, and we just like pointed to a random restaurant, being like, should we just go eat here? We went in there, the food was terrible. Well, I'd say it was very clearly just like a tourist trap, because it was very near, I can't remember, it was near central Rome, I assume. The food was, you know, kind of cheap or whatever, and it was just like, it was not great. It's probably what I'd say. But that's the only time I can think of on holiday where I was like, this food is actively bad. So yeah, that was that food. Even on this most recent trip, like the worst meal I think we had was at this restaurant, and it wasn't that bad. It was fine. Is probably how I describe it. It's still a bit average tier. So really, if anything, I'm way overthinking these sort of things. You know, I don't even care about food that much. I don't know why I put so much like stress onto being like, oh, I gotta find like a really good restaurant or whatever to eat at. I gotta find one which like makes sense and is perfect, and like what locals like, and they're like actually like faithful to what food should be like in this region, and etc., etc. And really my mind is just like, I don't know, food is food. Don't even worry. Don't even stress about it. But yeah, so it's kind of like annoying and good at the same time, you know? Like, I don't mind finding, like, for example, like a list of restaurants, being like, hey, these are a list of restaurants we could eat at, and then like having someone else be like, oh yeah, let's eat there, because, you know, I guess it's hard for me to just be like, you know, when I'm planning an itinerary, I can very easily be like, we should go here if I'm planning it, because I'm just like, I want to see this, I want to see what it's like, and this is like something which is particularly noteworthy of a region, we should go check it out at the very least. But when it comes to I don't even know what it is, but yes, walk a runway. Oh, that's actually adorable. Yeah, do, man. I forgot what I was saying. Yeah, but so like an experience being like, yeah, we should do this, we should do that. But when it comes to food, I'm just like, I guess in my mind internally, I'm just like, I don't care that much. I just want to eat food. But then, you know, I don't know. I don't know why it's so complicated. I'm trying to untangle these thoughts, you know. And this is a classic using Animal Crossing as a self-exploration talking platform. It's just like, why does this happen? I don't know. I don't know why I'm like this. I don't really know what conclusion to all of this was meant to be. I don't think I had a conclusion. It's just sort of like, yeah, it sucks, I guess. It's just kind of, you know, how it is. You know, at some point, maybe I should actually reject, like, the clothing item. And then just have them being like, oh, yeah, you know, they hated it or something. I don't know. I'd feel too bad about it. I'd much rather just sort of, like, you know, deal with, oh, we should definitely clear out our inventory and sell stuff. But yeah, I don't know, restaurant reviews. I guess, basically, the conclusion I've come to is, I should just get over it. Just read the Google reviews, just pick one with reasonably high reviews. With a decent sample size, or just go on TripAdvisor and just be like, okay, if it's like extremely westernized, it's extremely westernized because it appeals to tourists. Who cares? And just eat the food and be like, wow, this is good food, or wow, this is bad food. And you know, just it is what it is. I'm trying to think of like other times I've had like really bad food or something on holiday. I can't actually think of a time off the top of my head. But that one time. I'm sure I've had food which I was like, that's not my favourite, but I don't know. If anything, I feel like I've got more good food memories than bad food memories. I'm trying to think, because there's one place in Japan, it's in Djibouti if you want to go to it. What's it called? I actually can't remember. Uweibo? It's something like that. Oh, I don't know, hold on. Let me Google it. It was one we went to all the time in Shibuya because my friend loved it and it was super cheap. Shibuya sushi. It's something like Uwobe, is that it? Uwobe. I'm using my Joy-Con drift controllers, which is why I'm still sort of just walking away. Is this it? This is it. I'm pretty sure this is it. This looks right. I need to like go outside. It's very near the station, yeah, but this looks right. It is fantastic. It's so cheap. Like each plate is like just like 100 yen or something. So, and you know, the most I ever ate there I think was like 16 plates. So that was like 1600 yen, which is £10. That's crazy. I was so stuffed by the end of that. Just £10 of really good sushi. It's fantastic. We went there like my friend loves sushi, so when we went there on holiday. It's the first time I went to Japan. We basically, like, after taking him the first time, like, he basically was like, every single evening, it's like, can we go to this place? I'm like, you know, and if we just went there the day before, I was like, okay, no, we should probably, like, try different food. So we did, and he was like, all right. And then he asked the next day, can we go there? And I'm like, okay. Because it was so rare, because I did actually quite like it a lot. And it was a lot of fun. And it was and the best part, it was super easy, knew exactly what it is, super convenient, and cheap. It basically ticked every single box. So that's great, and I think that was one I recommended about my sister. My sister's so much better at finding like food in restaurants than I am. Very good at reading reviews, as she describes herself. Me, I'm just like, rawr, I guess. I'm really trying to think of like a terrible meal, because it's amusing. Because one time in like English literature, I can't remember if it's for an actual examination we had or if it was just for a mock examination, but one of the English literature writing assessments was, I think it's a GCSE, sorry, not English, like English language, was write about the worst like restaurant experience you had and the best restaurant experience you've ever had or something. And I was like, I don't know, so I just made it up. I made up about going to like a noodle bar in China or something, and it was just incredibly like, the noodles were incredibly tough and difficult, tough and chewy and like brittle, and it was disgusting and terrible service. And then I went to like a really good one where it was just like a huge buffet and like a fantastic, exquisite restaurant. I don't know, I just used loads of sensory language to describe things, and it was sort of just like, wow, A star. And I just make it up. You know, they always say just like, you got to draw on your own experiences. And I suppose to an extent that's true, or you got to write something which actually happened to you. You don't got to write what something that happened to you. You just got to draw on your own experiences, whether real or made up. And then you know, just write about it well. That's such bad advice. Like, that's not even advice. What am I saying? Just do well. Just do it. Anyway, restaurant reviews, I don't know, I've come to my conclusion that I worry too much about these sort of things, which is, you know, genuinely true, I'm going to be honest. And honestly, you know, there's a lot of good restaurants out there, but finding the actual local ones, you're going to have to put in your research, and if you aren't bothered to put in that research, just use Google reviews, just use TripAdvisor, they're pretty good restaurants anyway. So yeah, I'm going to round off this episode here. So if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm a dear darling. Any likes, comments, description, shares are really appreciated. Join me, dear darling, Discord. Follow me on Twitter down below. Hope to see each other again. But for now, it's our farewell. So until next time, bye bye. Oh, I just interrupted my wave earlier. I can't do that. Bye bye for now.